You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. I just want to give a heads up that I love David Tennant, and this was a great interview, and I adore him. But the video quality on his side, we zoomed, isn't great all the time. So just give me a break. In the YouTube comments, you don't have to say, well, the video was shitty. Well, just listen to it then. Don't bitch at me, will you? But yeah, David is an extraordinary talent, but also an extraordinary human being. I loved interviewing him, and he was so kind. I saw him at a con, and we've bumped into each other, but we didn't really know each other. And I just said, hey, is there any way you'd come on the podcast? He goes, yeah, sure. I go, really? He goes, yeah, take my email. And then we set it up, and it was done. There was just no like, I don't really do those. And a treat. And if you haven't watched,
probably good of you not to attempt the Scottish accent.
He's Scottish.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
No,
I could actually if I wanted to. No, how would I see it from the back of his throat if you want to like that. David's rolling his eyes now. Stop. But listen, just a few things. If you love the podcast and you're here for David Tennant and you actually say, hey, this is pretty good, please subscribe and support me, support the podcast, write a review. And if you really want to join the podcast and join a great community, you could join Patreon and support the podcast in more ways. There's tons of perks, and I send packages to people, and some people get to be on the show, and there's a lot of stuff. So go to patreon.com/inside of you. And the Inside of You online store has a bunch of cool merch. Lexmas script signed by me, the pilot script signed by me, the lunchbox signed by me and Tom, ship keys, tumblers, so much cool stuff there. So go there. And my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum. You can go to my link tree for cameos and all the cons we're going to be at. So make sure you go to that. And there's a Smallville cruise in 2026. So sign up for that. And then, of course, there's the Creation Con in Chicago in September, which Ryan's going to. It's a Smallville con. Mm-hmm. Some new people going to that one. And, that's about all I have for that. But, Ryan, you doing all right? You taking care of your MH?
The old MH, the old mental
health.
The old mental health. Yeah.
Are you going to any concerts this year?
Yeah, I got a couple on the calendar.
And usually probably, you might have a hit off a reefer. Or
it'll happen.
Well, I mean, you're a smart guy. I mean, if you think you're going to do anything to alter your abilities to drive an automobile and risk other lives and yours, what are you going to do? You're going to call a car service.
Yep.
That's exactly right. It's very simple. Smart people should know this.
And we do.
There's a lot of reasons why people shouldn't drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest one to me is like, if you're under something, if you're smoking pot, if you're doing drugs, why do you think that you're okay to drive? Driving is tough enough to be aware of your surroundings. People shouldn't be texting, but they do. So now if you add drugs into the equation and it's altering you, and it's freaking dangerous. And did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? You should know that. I hope you know that. If you drive while you're high, law enforcement can definitely tell. If you feel different, you drive different. I mean, I think people think, oh, I'm just a little high. I can drive. I'm actually more careful. It's bananas. I don't understand it. Look, drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA. Well, okay. Well, look, let's just do this. Again, the quality isn't great, but it's watchable, and the sound is great, and David is amazing. So let's get inside of David Tennant.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. It's awesome having you here. It really is.
Well, thanks for having me.
I mean, you're always working. People are probably always asking you to do stuff. So when I came up to you, you probably were like, fuck, I gotta do this.
No, not you, Michael. Of course not. No, I mean, I know when there's something to turn up for, and this is it.
This is it. How many podcasts do you do? I know you have your own podcast. Are you still doing that?
I did my own podcast. I did 3 runs of it, and the third one has just finished. It's just been released. It was very much a kind of a little sort of side hustle, which it was is exactly what Kristen Ritter called it when she did my podcast, and that's what I refer to as ever since. So it was just a little thing I did for fun. Once upon a time, back in the real world, and then through lockdown, I did a second lot, and I've just done a third little run of them now. Yeah.
Do you love it? Do you love just talking to people and shooting the shit?
I love doing it, and I love that it exists. I find the prep very stressful.
Do you prep a lot?
I do prep a lot. I don't have the confidence. I don't feel like a journalist. I don't feel like I've got the skill set to hand. So I over prepare. And then a lot of it just goes for nothing, but I over prepare.
I figure you got to know a little bit about somebody, and then you have a conversation, and then you sort of start remembering things that you might have read or...
I think there's a bit of that. Yeah. What's your process? Because you're an old hand at this now.
I mean, yeah, I guess I've done like 350. I guess.
Wow.
I don't do a lot of research. I sometimes ask my nerd friends, like my friend Troy, who's also a huge fan of yours. I text Kristen. And I wish she would allow me to play her voice message to you, but she hasn't approved yet because she's at the gym. But
right, okay.
She said so many nice things. I mean, she went on. She goes, David is the most honest. This is what she said, her voice message, if I could play it. David is the most amazing actor and human being ever, 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 ever. He blew my mind working with him. His performance was always so real and a little different each time. And she just went on and on. I'm telling you, she went on.
Well, I'm delighted. She's great. I mean, she was just brilliant as Jessica Jones, wasn't she? I mean, it was one of the all-time great performances. I think she's just magnificent. And now she writes books as well. She writes books. She knits sweaters. Was there anything she can't do?
I wrote a book.
Well,
it's a fart book. It's called The Talented Farter. It just came out. Yeah. Believe it or not, Simon & Schuster put it out. It's a colorful sound book. It's for kids and adults alike.
I shall check it out. I love a fart gag. I'm always there for a fart gag. So.
Do your kids fart?
Not enough. I would encourage them to fart more. My wife does not like farting, and she does not appreciate a fart joke. It's one of the few things we disagree on.
Really?
Yeah.
That's got to be difficult.
Yeah.
I feel like if my girlfriend didn't like farts, I really couldn't be myself.
It's difficult. It is difficult. I mean, I don't stop myself. I don't hold back, but these are some of the most difficult moments in our relationship.
Why do I always hear how great of a guy you are from everybody? Why is that?
I pay a lot of people a lot of money.
Do you pay a lot? I mean, is it like, I mean, it can't be an act. You can't put this on all the time. I mean, the bad always shines through sometimes and you see the real, person. But like every time I hear David Tennant, I hear, oh my God, I love him. He's great. He's so sweet. Oh. Is it, do you think that's from growing up? It was your environment that you were in, or how you were raised that has an influence on that?
Do you know, I'm probably not the person to ask, am I? Because whilst I'm thrilled to hear these things, I also get a little bit nervous and shy at any sense of being praised in that way. It feels almost like hubris to acknowledge that it might be true. So right. I don't know. It makes me a little bashful, Michael.
Really?
Yeah.
But the question really is when you raised, your father was a minister.
He was a minister in the church. That's right. Yeah.
Do you think you were heavily influenced by that? I mean, are you a religious person, or can you just shout out proverbs and shit like that?
I had a religious phase as a teenager, but it's not something I am now. But I definitely was brought up. I think my dad was one of the good Christians, because sometimes these are ideologies that can be that can be made to stand for a lot of stuff that I don't see in any version of the Bible that I recognize. So he was very much, he lived, he was a good human. He was a good man, and he was very self-effacing and very true to what he believed the things that he taught meant. And I certainly feel like, I hope that I inherited some of his morality, because it was to be cherished for sure.
Yeah. Do you think like his work ethic, that you saw how hard he worked and how much he achieved, that it kind of bounced off on you?
Yeah, that is probably something that he was. It was always to be admired about him. Yeah, he was a grafter for sure.
I mean, growing up, did you really watch Doctor Who when you were like just a kid?
I did.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, the chances of that being something that then was repeated in adulthood are vanishingly small. It feels like I won a lottery ticket there. Yeah.
Were you nervous when you were then on Doctor Who, when you were filming and you're going, and this is crazy? Of
course, because it was like it for a long time. It felt like an out of body experience. The whole being on set with the props that I had fetishized as a child. I mean, I had TARDISes all over my bedroom. I had pictures of the Doctor on my wall. I dreamt of having that, playing on that console. So to finally have it and to have some sort of ownership of it, it was very surreal. Yeah. But the show was being run by someone who was in the same boat. Russell T Davies, who's now back running Doctor Who again. He grew up as a fan of the show, because of course it's been on since 1963. I was born in 71, and it was part of the certainly the UK primetime TV schedule for all the years that I was growing up. It was a big part of the cultural furniture in this country. And I know it went around the world, but it was a bit harder to find perhaps in the US and other places around the world. Here it was primetime. It was a huge show. So I was one of many fans that grew up with it, and many fans who now work on the show as adults and who were inspired to go into that kind of creative industry as a result of that.
Yeah. I just feel like if I was a big fan of something, like for instance, if I was a huge Superman fan, just a diehard, and then I was Lex Luthor, which
I mean, blow your mind. How big a fan were you?
I wasn't at all. But what I'm saying is, no, okay. I watched the Superman movies. I'm looking at a Gene Hackman autographed poster.
Oh, but come on.
Pretty cool. I just wasn't, I was a horror movie fan growing up because of my mom. Okay. She always made me watch horror movies with her. But I guess what I'm thinking is, was it weird to then be in this role after watching it? And was it hard for you to watch yourself? Or was it hard to be a fan still while you were on the show?
Yeah, it moves. You move from being a fan to something else because you're sort of too close to it. It doesn't mean you don't have an enthusiasm and a joy for it. That has never died.
Yeah,
and that's still there. But yeah, it's odd and it's surreal, and yet it feels oddly right. It feels oddly inevitable, and it's like everything you kind of the 8-year-old self in you.
Yeah,
the 30 whatever I was, the 36-year-old self. I think of the age I was when I did it, is going, what? This is impossible. This can't be happening. This isn't real. The 8-year-old self, which lives within all of us still very vividly, the 8-year-old self is going, yep, that's right. This is where we were always headed. And now we've arrived.
That's a beautiful thing to be able to connect those. That's what keeps us going. The inner child, it has to come out. You have to embrace it. I think when you lose that, that's when you kind of fade a little bit, like you get away from your dreams and your hopes, and when those things come together, it's pretty magical,
for sure. And I think as actors we have an advantage in that we're always we sort of rely on our inner child, don't we? It's the inner child that kind of, because we're make believing every day, and so you get to kind of keep that on a good healthy simmer as you grow older. Whereas I suspect that's probably harder if you go off to work in insurance or something. I mean, I'm sure there are lots of people who have wonderful creative lives within, even if their professional life is more uniform. But it's easier if every day you're going to work and pretending to keep the inner child alive. Mine certainly is very vivid still.
Do you truly love what you do? Do you truly love acting? Is it something, do you feel like when you were younger and you were, because you're my age, but the 20s, the 30s, there's an enthusiasm, there's that drive. Do you think you still have that, or it's become a little bit more work now, but it's still fun? Like, is there a happy medium?
I guess it's a bit more work because as you become an actual grown-up and you have a mortgage and children and stuff and things that you have to maintain, inevitably there's a certain transactional quality that has to be there. You need to pay the outgoings and all that. But I do still love it. I do. I don't feel, I always feel a little bit temporary about it. I always feel like it's precarious. And maybe, whilst that isn't entirely comfortable, maybe that helps to keep it feeling alive. I genuinely always think this next job is my last job.
You do?
And people think people think I'm making that up, but it's that there's a sort of whether that's a work ethic or whether that's a fear or there's something. There's always a sense of me that thinks it could stop, it could all be over, and I think that helps to keep it enjoyable, I think.
Do you still get nervous on set, or is it just like maybe the first day and then you let it go, or are you pretty much enveloped sort of in your work and you just do what you know you can do? Do you ever, the nerves ever get in the way?
Yeah, they definitely can, for sure. It's not something that I feel like I've ever entirely conquered. It's also something I think can be quite a bit of something of a useful engine as well. I think nerves and anxiety, as long as it doesn't overwhelm, it's keeping these things
in check,
proportional. Exactly. Yeah, I do quite a lot of theatre as well.
I know,
and that's where the nerves. You really do have to battle with those demons there, because it's so kind of, you're stepping out. It's like jumping out of a plane. You're stepping out in front of the audience and you have to deliver it, and you have to not forget what you're doing, and your increasingly addled brain has to keep moving in the right direction. Do you do theater?
I started out in the theater. I did a lot of theater growing up, and then I moved to New York after college and did a couple shows, and then I moved to LA, and that was sort of it, and I never went back.
And that's not something you miss?
I mean, there's that camaraderie, there's that kind of feel that college feel, like you're working with people, and it's not like it's a lot different, and it's community, and it's and that instant reaction from the audience, and that feel of it's like the live audience. I love that. I do miss that. Yeah, I don't know why. It kind of faded. That it's not that I would never do it again, but I mean, but to me, it feels like if you could do Hamlet, which you did, nothing should make you nervous. I mean,
my Lord. Well, Hamlet made me the most nervous. So there you go. I mean, that was the opening, the first public performance of Hamlet. I think it was the most scared I've ever been.
Could you feel it like in your chest? Do you remember the feeling?
I remember the feeling vividly, because it coincided with that I'd just been doing Doctor Who, so I'd kind of lost my anonymity, I guess. So there was a spotlight on me then going back and doing a play, which was more intense. I felt like the world was watching in a way that they probably didn't really care when I was doing a play in Dundee Rep when I was 22. It felt a bit more scrutinized, I suppose. And it's Hamlet, which is kind of the play and the part and that whole sort of classical theatre tradition. I was doing it at the Royal Shakespeare Company. It all felt like a big, scary, pointy thing. And particularly that first performance was overwhelming. It really, and there was a moment when I thought, oh no, I can't do this. I am going to have to report out front that the show's off, because it was absolutely overwhelming. I mean, it was sweats and it was
like nausea. You had to go to the bathroom.
I was on the floor of my dressing room in the fetal position. I was genuinely. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
I know because I've been there.
Yeah, right. Well, you
there.
get it. Yeah, I thought I don't know how I tell people that everyone's going to have to go home, but I'm going to have to.
I thought about that. I thought about like if I just go to the airport right now and get on a flight and just leave and never come back, I'll be okay.
How long could I keep running before?
How long can I keep running? Yeah, it's so terrifying. It's overwhelming. And was there somebody who sat you down and said, David, people are going to be critics. People are going to do this. You're great. Do what you do. You got this. Take a deep breath. Let's just do it. There was one
woman. She was called Lynn Darnley, and she was the voice and verse expert at the Royal Shakespeare Company. She was also a lovely woman. Sadly, no longer with us. Greatly missed. And she came round the dressing rooms just to go, "You're having a show, jolly jolly," and she found me in a heap. And Lynn Darnley came in and just sort of talked me round and just made me breathe, made me think, just have a little bit of objectivity, just take a moment, and was kind and was patient and literally got me on stage that night. And I mean, I don't know. Would I have gone on stage without her? Who knows? Would I have got out of the fetal position? It didn't feel like I could. But she came at exactly the right moment and she saved me.
Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. I'm going to speak to you about something that's going to help you save money, period. It's Rocket Money. It's a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. This is just a wonderful app. There's a lot of apps out there that really, you have to do this and pay for and that. But with Rocket Money, they're saving you money. You're getting this app to save money. I don't know how many times that I've had these unwanted subscriptions that I thought I canceled or I forgot to, the free trial ran out, Ryan. Mm-hmm. I know you did it. That's why you got Rocket Money.
I did, yeah. And I also talked to a financial advisor recently, and I said I had Rocket Money, and they said, that's good. This will help you keep track of your budget.
See? We're only
even
here
the
to
pros.
help, folks. We're only trying to give you, things that will help you. So Rocket Money really does that. Rocket Money shows you all your expenses in one place, including subscriptions you forgot about. If you see a subscription you no longer want, Rocket Money will help cancel it.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. The app automatically scans your bills to find opportunities to save and then goes to work to get you better deals. They'll even talk to the customer service so you don't have to.
Yeah, because I don't want to. Press 1 now if you want. Get alerts if your bills increase in price, if there's unusual activity in your accounts, if you're close to going over budget, and even when you're doing a good job. Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter my show name Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum in the survey so they know I sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from my show, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Rocket Money. Are you an emotional guy? Do you, you have children. Do you cry in front of the kids? Are you someone who sees a movie and cries? Are you affected?
I have done all those things, but I don't know that I don't think I'm more emotional than most. I think it's something I've had to learn to allow myself to be. The sort of Scottish Presbyterian upbringing was not particularly emotional. It was there was probably a guardedness that was inculcated in us in Glasgow in the 70s. But I've got better, I think.
What about auditioning? Do you still audition?
I haven't auditioned a lot lately. I had an audition, but it's probably been a couple of years since I had an audition, yeah.
Do you miss that? Because there's a wonderful thing about just getting an offer. There's nothing better. It's like, oh my God, I don't have to audition for this. It's an offer.
It's the best bit, right? Because after that, because then it's all potential. You haven't made a decision, nothing. It's just somebody phones you up and goes, somebody somewhere likes you.
That's it.
Great.
But what's scary is, at least in an audition, they go, yes, that's what we want you to do.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I go on set. I know what they want. I know the character. So what I'm thinking is you get an offer and you come on in and like, oh, David, no, that's nothing. We don't want you to do that.
Oh, do you know what? That's not a thought that troubles me, but now you've said it.
Now it's troubling you.
So you you enjoy an audition?
No, I hate both.
Oh, okay.
I hate offers. No,
you hate all of it. You hate the whole thing.
I guess what it is when you get an offer is if you have a really good conversation with the creator and you just talk about what you're going to do. And it's like, I did a role like this. What you did with that, just to make sure it's not you're showing up and just doing it and then you're doing it all wrong.
Yes, you're right. You're right to worry about that. And now that's all I'm going to think about going forward in everything I do. But it's, that's interesting. I don't know that I trust those people in those rooms in those moments, though, because they are sort of auditioning themselves as well, aren't they? Yeah. I mean, they're sort of figuring out what they think. And I feel like I've been in auditions in the past where they've said it's this, this, and this. And you try and provide that for them, having thought it was something else. You don't get the part, and then you see the finished product, and it's somebody doing something that they didn't. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of variables, and I think the creatives at every level are just as vulnerable to changing their mind, probably.
They always say less is better. Yeah. Do you feel like, as your career has sort of gone on, that you have internalized a lot more and you look at yourself in the past and go, oh, I was a little big or I was a little too much.
Oh, God.
And
yeah.
You do.
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely been a journey toward minimalism. I'm not there yet. I still see myself chewing the scenery at times and wonder how I'm possibly ever going to be employed again. But
I don't see that at all, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. I wasn't angling for that, but thank you all the same. Yeah, I did, definitely. But then sometimes you just got to cut loose and enjoy yourself, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you ever feel like you're on something, not drugs, but you're on the set and you're like, this is probably not good. My gut says this show is probably not good, so fuck it. I'm just going to fuck around. I'm going to have fun.
I see. I don't know that have I?
Have you ever been on something that probably isn't going to be good and you were right about it?
I think I'm very good at deluding myself in the moment to go, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this shouldn't work, but hey, everyone's here. Everyone's turned up. It's going to be great. I think I'm quite in the moment. I can pull the wool over even my own eyes, I think. But then ultimately you look back and go, nah. I mean, you always knew what was coming, but then sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're in the middle of something thinking, this is dog shit. And then it turns into the biggest thing of your career. So, I don't trust my own judgment, I don't think, really. Do you think you always know?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
You do?
I'm pretty good.
Okay.
I've been pretty good. I mean, there's some things I thought were going to be better and weren't, but it was due to editing and like certain other things that, I don't think you got the right footage, enough this, enough, character. But there's been moments where I'm like, wow, and what do you do? That's my question to you. I guess you just, like you say, you do your best. You just have to do your best. You just can't, you have to commit. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely. The hardest thing is if you think, well, my best is this, and you've got someone going, no, I don't want that. I want this. And you're thinking, everything you're asking me to do, I disagree with. And then you're left with that thing of going, can I literally disregard everything a director is telling me?
To save
I have
yourself.
The confidence of my own sort of self-belief. That's what I think. That's the trickiest bit when you're in a sort of, not necessarily a conflict, but a disagreement with what's going to work. with the people, with someone else who's part of that process. And and if you're filming something, you've got to sort of decide that afternoon, because at the end of the afternoon, the scene's done and you're never going back to it again. That I find very difficult. And that's when I struggle with my own sense of knowing what's good and bad.
Yeah. No, it's hard sometimes. Do you, I have so many questions for you. You've done so many great things, but what's the most difficult challenge for you? What role besides theater, obviously Hamlet, and some of the things you've done, but what is one of the most difficult roles, or, I guess roles in general that you've played?
I don't know. There are different things that can be difficult, aren't there? There can be something that's just a lot of work, it's just keeping up with knowing what you're doing the next day and having all the lines down, and just the physical act of it is very difficult because there's a lot of it. But that at least is something you can. That's more of a sort of that's a problem that you can address just by doing it.
Right.
What's harder is it's sort of a bit like what we were talking about before, when something doesn't quite work. And you sort of know you can't quite grab it, and you can't quite figure out what the solution is. You just know it's not quite there. And that's maybe partly what you're bringing to it, or partly what you're getting, or when it just doesn't feel like it's gelling and you have to sort of do something, and the day comes to the end and you walk away and you think, no, that didn't really, we did not complete a day that felt good.
See, that weighs on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It really,
that's when I can start to spiral.
You can't let it
and
go.
And then the next day's harder. No, you can't.
Yeah, it's funny because you have you do a scene and you leave and you go, you're asking your makeup artist, you're like, was that good? Yeah, it was great. I was like, I don't trust you.
And then you realize they don't care. They just want to go home, which is fair enough, by the way. Absolutely.
I was looking at your hair.
Yeah, your hair looks great.
Yeah, and then you have to go do another scene, thinking, "Oh, did we get that scene?"
Yeah, and then it's cumulative, because then the next scene feels like the whole thing's slipping away from.
And then you go home and you start to piece the scenes together to see how they work. Oh, I was this and that, and then this, and then you're like editing the movie in your head while you're trying to sleep.
Yeah,
and you have no control. So why don't you just let it go? Why don't we just let it go?
Which is the only thing you can do, but you don't. And the next day you go in and you think, well, if I move this scene slightly to into this area, maybe that compensates for the pile of crap I did yesterday. And then it's like sand slipping through your fingers.
We talk about mental health on this podcast a lot, and facing adversity. I've dealt with a lot of anxiety in my life, and it's just, I guess you've had anxiety your whole life.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have known to call it that.
Me too.
And again, that probably my upbringing didn't really allow us to feel like that was a response to anything that one had the legitimacy to have. It wasn't something that was for the likes of us. But yes, of course, and I probably have learnt to appreciate it and give it its due, and sometimes it can be a little bit, I do think a little bit can be helpful, but it's when it starts to overwhelm and become unhelpful that is something that you have to, I don't know, figure out. And I don't know that I've ever come up with a single compelling solution, but yeah, it's something I certainly struggle with at different times.
They say you can't really prepare for an anxiety attack. You can't really prepare for it. But I think you can. The more I think about it, if you're overworked and you're not sleeping and your diet's poor and you're not exercising, you should know it's coming.
Yeah, that's probably true. It changes as well when you have a family, I find, because then there's less space for you. And sometimes that can be very helpful, because you have to sort of get over yourself a little bit. But then the danger is there is no space, and that can paint you into a corner. Yeah,
but what do? You don't really have a thing that you do? Is if you know it's coming, is there something you can do that will help?
It's the obvious thing, isn't it? It's admitting it and talking about it. but that's often much harder to do than it should be. Since I met Georgia, and we've been married now for, God, how long have we been married? We met something like 18 years ago now. We've been married for 14, I think.
Wow.
13, 14. Having her in my life, having a significant other, having a soulmate has definitely reduced my anxiety levels. I mean, before I met Georgia, I was in therapy. I was finding stuff more difficult. Just having that other person that you can rely on and feel seen by and feel supported by and know that you've got that no matter what has been transformative without a doubt. It doesn't mean that I don't still have more difficult moments, but if I can share that with her early enough, the act of sharing it always helps. And she's also very wise, and she's very good at helping me through that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it happened last night. I was having some anxiety. I go, in bed. And my girlfriend's like, what? I go, I don't know. A little anxious. Why? Don't know. Okay. Well, what do you think it is? And I go, I give too much. What do you mean? I don't know. I don't take care of myself enough. I give people too much. I'm not going to call my mom for a week. What? What do you mean you're not going to call her? I just, it's too much. I mean, I'm just trying to work it out, and she's just listening, and just having her there.
Yeah.
It's just, it almost makes me feel good. Like, hey, someone cares. Someone's there. It's going to be okay.
It's everything. It's absolutely everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's important to have someone.
Yeah.
I love Broadchurch.
Thank you. Me too.
I really, really love it. I got sucked into that show so fast. You and Olivia Colman, the whole cast are just so good. And it's so real. Like Broadchurch, it almost sounds like it's going to be a broad comedy. Like it's
yeah, sure, yeah.
I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, oh, look at the tagline or the log line. Oh, this looks, I like mysteries. I like David. I love Olivia Colman. And I'm telling you, the first episode, I'm in. It's got heart. It's dramatic. It's funny. It's quirky. It's all these things. Did you have any idea that the show would be as big as it was?
Not as big as it was, no. I knew that it was good, and I knew that Olivia was already attached when I came on board, so I thought, we didn't know each other at the time. I thought, well, I want to work with her. I knew Chris Chibnall, who was the writer. I knew James Strong, who was the director, so I knew that the people involved were quality and could be trusted, and I knew that I wanted to know what happened next. But you never know that something will take off. Oh, you know if a script is good. That's about all you've got to go on, isn't it, at first? And then, as we made it, because we didn't know, we got it script at a time, and we didn't know where it was going.
Oh, what?
So we didn't know. So every time I was in an interrogation scene with a suspect, I didn't know if they'd done it or not. So it was genuine.
That seems so real, too.
Yeah.
Even your look on your face was like...
Yeah. It was great. And as we made it, all anyone talked about as we went through production was, what do you think? But that happened there, and this person did that, and I think it could be this. And so the way that it kind of took fire amongst the cast and the crew, I suppose was a hint that it might do the same for the audience.
Yeah.
But I still don't think any of us quite saw what was coming. I mean, it went bananas. It was in all the newspapers over here. It was... Who Killed Danny became it was sort of banner headlines everywhere you looked. It really took off. People would be stopping you in the street and quizzing you.
Yeah.
Which was exciting. It was great. Yeah.
Well, there's so many shows. It's just like endless with these streamers. You don't never know what to watch. And I don't know how long it's been in the States, but it's been on Netflix. Is it Netflix?
No, well, that's the thing. It was on ITV here, which is like one of your old-fashioned networks, and it was released weekly, I mean, we are still talking quite a few years ago now, but it was already that format was breaking down. Already people were expecting things to all drop at once and for you to be able to binge everything. And it was almost counterintuitive to put it out at a regular time, week by week, with commercial breaks and all the things that felt like they were old-fashioned. But that became something that helped it to take off, because people would talk about it the next day and discuss it for a week and wait for the next episode. And it sort of recreated that thing, that appointment to view television in the UK, which people thought had died. It was almost like the last gasp of it, which became part of what I think allowed it to be a bit of a sensation at the time.
You know, I think there's a beautiful thing in that, the old school, where it's like, you know, the commercials and you have to wait and you have to, you know, that there was an excitement to it, and you had to wait a week before it came out.
Having to wait, yeah, exactly.
And now it's just like, well, I'm just going to watch 15 on Saturday, 15 episodes.
Yeah. I'm going to stay up all night. By the time I watch the final episode, I'll be so tired, I won't be able to stay awake. But I'll have done it in one sitting.
Was Olivia Colman, did she blow you away? Did you just every day were in awe of her, or was she a joy to work with?
Oh yeah, and she's obviously she's brilliant. We you know, she just sort of behaves on screen. She just is. She just it just kind of pours out of her. But what more than that, we just really got on. We just had. I mean, we laughed all the time. She was just one of those people you went, oh, I've made a friend. And it was just always a pleasure to go to work and hang out with her, and to play these two characters that bounced off each other, and that although they had quite an abrasive relationship, which we didn't, but then that was great fun to play. So yeah, it's when you find yourself. I mean, I admired her, but we'd never met. So to all that humanity that she brings to everything that she does, that I think makes her such a compelling performer, is in her. She is a sort of wonderful, warm, lovely human. And I think she has a way of channeling that through her acting, which is why she is so beloved and wins all the prizes, because she channels humanity. But that's all in her. That's who she is.
Wow.
She's a keeper. She's great.
Yeah, I was blown away by The Crown. I mean,
oh yeah,
just like,
yeah,
I couldn't believe how great she was. I was in awe. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything: cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? Using trusted resources and talking to live therapists can get you personalized recommendations and help you break through the noise. Therapy from BetterHelp is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it's for everyone, not just for those who've experienced major trauma. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. Wow. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. I think that's a big thing. People think, oh, what do I do? I'm nervous. I don't know. I don't like my therapist. It's easy with BetterHelp. You just switch. They'll change them for you. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/inside. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. BetterHelp.com/inside. This is an advertisement from BetterHelp. Inside of You is brought to you by NHTSA. You know, drinking and driving will change your whole world. Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, things will never be the same. Getting a sober ride will change your world for the better. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. But have you ever worked with, like, that's a great example of someone that you love working with that's gifted. Have you ever worked with someone that you just can't stand? That's very difficult.
Can't stand is a lot.
How about difficult?
Yeah, of course I have. I'm sure you have too.
Yes.
I mean, most actors are great, I'd say. I think it's always worth saying that because we do have a reputation as a profession of being self-involved and narcissistic and awful.
Yes. Which are all true.
Which are all true. Yeah, but 95% of those people might have a smattering of that, but are actually, they're interesting people, they're fun people, they're creative people. I enjoy being with actors and hanging out with actors. But every now and again, you get, I mean, the trouble is the industry indulges it. Because if somebody is worth something to a production, they are cosseted and protected, and that breeds a behavior.
It does, doesn't it?
That can be, difficult to navigate.
What have you done?
Yeah, I mean, you navigate it as best you can. I'm not very good with a bad atmosphere. I take it personally, and I find it very hard to operate. Some people, it's like their engine, isn't it? They come on, they sort of piss everybody off, and that gives them, I don't know, like a little bit of catnip. That gets them going.
It's all about them. For me, that's why.
Yeah. For me, it's the absolute opposite. If I feel I'm being accommodated, I want to flay my own skin off. So I find it very difficult to be around that kind of personality and that kind of energy because I don't understand it. I don't know how you go home at night and get into bed and go, yeah, I made 6 people cry today. It was a good day. It makes me want to.
Yeah.
I can't get behind it at all.
I feel like I'm like you in the sense that I want to go and I want everyone to have a great time.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, there's serious scenes. There's times when you got to bear down. But also, like, this is a family and you're going to be with me for a while. And let's try to enjoy it and make some good cinema here.
And we get to be doing a job that we would possibly do for free if we weren't getting paid for it. So what a privileged position to be in. And there's plenty of other people just waiting for you to fall over and take your job. So you've got to feel like it's a privilege to be there. Which doesn't mean, like you say, it doesn't mean you don't take it seriously. It doesn't mean you don't
work hard.
Work hard. And there are moments where you will need certain things. But you can ask for that without making somebody cry.
Yeah.
Or getting somebody fired or, please stop.
Yeah. I mean, you don't hear a lot of that. It's mostly a lot of good people, but there are
less and less, I think. I think I think bad behavior is tolerated less even than when I started. It's definitely less fashionable, but there are still pockets of it. I'm not going to name any names.
No, I guess we can't, can we? Is it all strange having a former Doctor Who actor, Peter Davison, as your father-in-law? Is it weird at all? Was it weird in the beginning?
It's certainly unlikely, isn't it? I mean,
it's very unlikely.
It's statistically impossible, I'd say. And yet here we are.
And Georgia played his daughter.
No, Georgia played my daughter.
Your daughter, I mean. Your daughter.
Which is even weirder.
That's what I'm getting at.
But also his daughter. She is his daughter. But he is also, we played the same character, myself and my father-in-law. Right. It's the same Time Lord. He just changed his body. We're all the same character, and she is the daughter of all of us. And she is his daughter and now also my wife. But then, I'm a Time Lord and I'm 900 and something years old. So the age gap is not as awful as it might have been.
Yeah. I mean, but was it weird?
It was unlikely.
That's the word you're going to choose. It was unlikely.
Well, because I guess it's weird when you look at it objectively, but obviously it developed slowly. It crept up on me. It's not like we met and then I was marrying Peter Davison's daughter. We met and I got to know Georgia, who also happened to be Peter's daughter, who was somebody I'd watched as a kid. I mean, we found once, I used to draw like Doctor Who comic books and stuff. And there was one where I'd drawn Peter. Quite a good drawing, actually. And spelt his name wrong. along the bottom of it. So yeah, that's all pretty weird. Yes, that's all pretty unlikely.
It's cool. It's cool though, and now it's evolved and it's normal now.
Now it's very normal. Yeah, but Doctor Who runs through our family. Like
I look at you and I don't know.
Like,
sometimes I'm like, I don't know if he's telling me the whole thing.
It's just I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It is absolutely preposterous, and yet here we are, and it doesn't really make sense. You can't really think about it too much because it's so odd.
Yeah,
that there are 2 Doctors and 3 Time Lords in this small family unit.
I love it. When you came on the Doctor Who, you were told to use an English accent instead of your normal Scottish accent. But then, how did you feel when Peter was cast as the Doctor with an English accent?
It now looks a bit weird. It's true. I mean, it was 20 years ago. And I maybe there was just less. Maybe you were seeing regional accents slightly less. I didn't really think about it. I'd done another show for Russell T Davies, which was a biography of Casanova. And Peter O'Toole had played Casanova as an old man, and it flashed back, and I was the young version. So I was doing an English accent there because I was playing the young Peter O'Toole. And Russell had written that Casanova in quite a similar way to how he would ultimately write my version of the Doctor. So he kind of said, that's what, I saw, Casanova sort of became my audition for Doctor Who, unbeknownst to me. So he said, what you're doing in Casanova, I want you to do that. I want him to sound the same. I want him to be the same. So it was a sort of, there wasn't any kind of political thinking behind removing a regional accent. It's just, let's move that character across. It's sort of so I didn't think twice about it. I quite like doing an accent anyway. I quite like that sense of losing yourself. So I didn't resist it. Nowadays, I don't think we would even have had the conversation. I don't think we would even think about it. And Shooty, who's playing the Doctor now, was brought up in Scotland and has a Scottish accent. So I suspect there was no conversation about that. It was just you use your voice. It now is a bit weird that I didn't use my own voice, but I guess it gives me a little separation.
Yeah,
it
differentiates you, right?
Yeah, which I'm quite happy with. I like an accent.
Do you do a lot of different ones? Can you do a lot of different? Do you do impressions?
Not that I'm doing in public. No,
but you do impressions behind closed doors.
I mean, suggestions of people. Sure, I've got a couple of impressions that when I see you and we're not on tape, I'll give you a little. I've got a couple that I do.
Really? Are they kind of obscure? I bet you can do an Olivier.
Oh, I could if I thought about it, probably. And everyone from Scotland does a Sean Connery.
And probably a Michael Caine. Everybody does Michael Caine.
Everyone does a Michael Caine, yeah. Certainly Londoners will give you a Michael Caine at the drop of a hat. Whereas I think Scottish people defer to Sean Connery. Because you just put in the speech impediment and it's sort of 90% there.
Wow.
So everyone does. Everyone from Scotland does.
Can you do an American, like a Nicholson or do you do any American impressions?
I don't know if I do. Do I do? I mean, I've played American a couple of times, but I don't know that there are anyone specific that I'm aping. Do I do it? I don't think I've got any American impressions.
I could teach you some next time I see you. I'll teach you a couple.
I'd appreciate that. Who do you do? Who's your best one?
I don't know, Ryan. What do you think? Nicholson, Walken, Malkovich.
The biggies.
Dudley Moore. Well, he's English. Gary Oldman. I do a bunch, and I do the guy from Silence of the Lambs.
Anthony Hopkins.
No, the one who's like, we're she a great big fat person. Put the fucking lotion in the basket. Yeah, I do him.
That's good. I like it.
You played the serial killer Dennis Nilsson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dark character.
Yeah.
Was that difficult for you to play? I mean, how do you find that darkness within you? I mean, are there any psychological effects of playing a character like that, or are you method, or how do you do that?
I don't think I method. I mean, you'd have to ask Georgia. I think she was quite glad when it was over.
Yeah.
But it's not like I brought it home. I don't do that. I wasn't sort of trying to live like him or anything. But I was very aware because his crimes were relatively recent history, and you're aware when you're doing something like that there are still people alive whose lives were affected or ruined by this man. There are still people who he tried to kill and escaped who are still around. This is not. You had to treat it with a respect. I was very aware that on set, when I was dressed up like this awful man, I couldn't be sort of. I'm usually quite a little bit quite lighthearted, quite larky between takes.
Yeah.
With something like Nilsson, you had to sort of not do that. It just felt wrong. It felt like you were kind of carrying the weight of responsibility for some of the things that he did, and that you had to, you just had to sort of be aware of that, be a bit responsible for that.
Be more alone. Be more alone, I guess, on set.
I was very alone on set. Yeah.
See, that had to be difficult for you because, I know you like to have fun and talk to people, and this was something different.
Yeah. Yes. But it was also something I'd researched it a lot. I was very, I kind of knew what I was taking on, and it was a relatively short shoot. It was, I don't know, maybe 8 weeks or something. So, you kind of thought, for this period of time, I'm going to treat this with some of the respect that I felt like his victims deserved. Yeah.
That's got to be difficult. I mean, people always ask me, because I played a villain, this Lex Luthor, for so long, but it was the opposite for me, because it wasn't real.
But exactly, that's okay. And I did Kilgrave and Jessica Jones, and that you can enjoy that because there's the kind of operatic villainy in that, which you can kind of lean into because it doesn't have real world consequences in quite the same way. I think that's okay. Because there's great fun to be had there, sure.
Would you or Georgia go back to Doctor Who again if they had something for you?
I think it would depend on what the circumstances were. I went back a couple of years ago. I did 3 in a row, which was an absolute joy because it was returning for a short period of time. You did that with Lex Luthor, right?
I went back for the final episode.
How did that feel?
It felt great. It felt like I had some resolve, some sort of like, it was important. It was important to the fans, and I wanted it to, book endings,
Yeah,
so,
of course.
It was a good move. It felt good. It felt good to be back on set. I got emotional.
In the world of multiverses and, people going, it's not entirely impossible. You might not be called back again, right?
Well, the series is over, but you never know. The creators and I have talked about some stuff that I can't talk about, but we'll see. Who knows?
Come on. Drop those hints and send everybody wild.
You just never know. I mean, would I play Lex Luthor again if it was the right role? They asked me to come back for the multiverse, but there'd be another person who played Lex, and I was like, no, there's only one.
Oh, okay, so that was your red line. That's
I was like, no, okay. I don't want to be. It's got to be just me when it's something. I don't want to have.
Okay,
But so maybe that was a little cocky. I didn't think it was cocky.
I don't know. It's interesting. I did do an episode of Doctor Who with Matt Smith, and actually, it was great fun. We had a really good time. It was great.
Yeah, that was different. I just felt like it was. I think it was the story. There wasn't any story really. It was just like, we want you to make an appearance and have a line or two, and I was just like, this doesn't make sense. I need some weight to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Inside of You is brought to you by IDOU. If you don't know what IDOU is, well, listen up, because it's pretty amazing. If you're feeling stuck in your career because it's competitive and technologically advanced, or people start to tell that, you're stuck, jumpstart your growth with IDOU. They have these online courses that draw from design and innovation, company IDOU's award-winning methods, and you can dive in whenever you're ready. There's never a bad time to transform your professional life.
Ever feel overwhelmed by all the AI hype?
Yes.
I mean, Michael, it's important. That's why IDOU's AI and design thinking programs are designed for leaders like you, people who want to stay ahead but keep problem solving human-centered. It's practical, hands-on, and built for real-world impact.
You know, IDOU has a whole suite of AI and design thinking programs that show you how to combine AI tools with human-centered design to boost creativity, speed up insights, solve problems in new ways.
At IDOU, you'll learn to apply human-centered methods to real-world challenges and turn insights into creative solutions that actually make a difference.
Yeah, and IDOU's courses are designed to seamlessly transition from theory to practice, ensuring that you can apply new skills right away and spark immediate progress. I love these guys. This is pretty fantastic that you're able to, you go to college and you have to take these courses. This one's something you want to take. You're just helping your career. You're enhancing it, and we all get stuck. And IDOU is there for us. Class starts soon, so enroll today. For a limited time, IDOU is offering my listeners 15% off site-wide. Go to IDEOU.com/inside. That's IDEOU.com/inside for 15% off. IDEOU.com/inside. What's it like being the most beloved UK bromance along with Michael Sheen since Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen?
Exhausting. He's so needy, honestly. It's a lot. No, it's been a delight, really. I mean, we've ended up. I mean, he doesn't live far away now. We've ended up. Our lives have become intertwined in a way that we would never have imagined. Well, he's great. It's lovely. It's a sort of middle-aged male friendship. It's the sort of thing that's quite difficult to find.
Yeah.
So I cherish it.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like you probably don't hang out with a lot of people because you have 5 kids, right?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Yeah,
you don't have time to do that. You're working, you're doing this. So if you're going to hang out with somebody, you really got to like them. It's got to be easy.
Exactly. And if you can work with them, even better.
Yeah,
I mean, that is the sweet spot, I think.
What's a role somebody's played where you're like, I couldn't do that. They're obviously better than me. I could never do that.
Oh, I mean, there's lots, isn't there? When you admire something and you just go, I suppose those are the most exciting performances to witness, aren't they? The ones that you're going to go, I guess it's like, oh, this sounds rather pretentious, but it's like when you talk to magicians and they kind of go, oh yeah, I know how they did that. I know how they did that. How did he do that? That bit where you kind of go, it's the bit where you can't see the join and you can't imagine how someone took themselves to that place and transformed themselves in that way or made those emotional connections. It's really exciting. I get really excited by really good acting. It makes me, I suppose, want to be better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of specifics. Oh my goodness, and so many, I guess.
I don't think I could have done like Hannibal Lecter. That was just perfect.
Right. Anthony Hopkins is one. Anthony Hopkins in Remains of the Day.
Oh man,
is one of those performances you kind of just it's immaculate. It's beautiful.
It is.
He does nothing, and you understand every single thought that flies through his head. It's moments like that when someone just nails something so beautifully. It's invigorating and awe-inspiring.
Yeah, I agree. It's there are certainly some roles where I go, that was great, but I could probably do that. I could have done that.
Oh yeah.
Not me, but then there are roles that I'm like, no, that's perfect. I could not do that. This is called Shit Talking with David Tennant. It's fast, quick, rapid fire. These are from my top tiers. Patreon.com/inside of you. We got Taylor. What is your inspiration? That's kind of vague, but what is your inspiration?
Well, I think what we were just saying, when you see, in terms of acting, it's when you see a piece of acting and you can't see the joins and you go, oh my God, I can only aspire.
Yeah. Cicely, what has been your most challenging role? We talked about that, but did we get to the bottom of it?
No, we didn't really.
No.
I don't think I answered. Maybe it was Hamlet just because it's big and it's got everything, but it was also the most satisfying, probably. I think the two go hand in hand.
All right. Raj, Tell me about a time you felt betrayed by someone you trusted.
Oh my
Raj, why did you get so dark?
I mean, I betrayed.
I mean, you don't even have to.
I'm never going to admit to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because if you do, then they'll know who it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to give them the pleasure.
Little Lisa, can you please share any fond memories working with the late, great Elizabeth Sladen?
Oh, well, I mean, you talked about moving from being a fan of Doctor Who to being in Doctor Who. One of the most extraordinary moments was being at a read-through. The first read-through I did, we did 3 episodes, a table read on the same day. And the final episode we read was the one that Elizabeth Sladen came back as Sarah Jane Smith. I mean, she was the Doctor Who companion when I was growing up. And when I was sat opposite a table and she called me Doctor, she had a very distinctive way of saying it as well, with a sort of catch in her voice. It's sort of on an in-breath, she'd go, Doctor? When she said that to me during my first table readers in Doctor Who, I mean, everything, my entire stomach turned to jelly. It was just the most magnificent thing. It was thrilling to work with her. And she was everything you wanted her to be. She was she was Sarah Jane Smith. She was, my 8-year-old self did backflips that day.
Wow. I could see how excited you were just talking about her. It was really, cool to see.
Yeah, she was great.
Jason W., you and Catherine Tate are wonderful together. What has been the most memorable part about working with her?
Oh my goodness, there are so many. Catherine's one of those she just makes me laugh all the time. Most memorable. We did a play together. We did Much Ado About Nothing together. And there was one night where it didn't fall apart so much as it just kind of rolled. There was a moment where she went off stage, she came back on again. She went off, she came back on again. And she was riding the audience's laughter, and to be part of that, and because she's a comic genius, and to be alongside that was, but I just love working with her. I just love hanging out with her. She's great.
That's awesome. NG Tracy, if you actually had a time machine, where would you go?
I have 2 answers to this. One is the Cavern Club to see the Beatles performing like for the first time or very early in their career. And the other one is to go back to the Globe Theatre and see the first performance of Hamlet. I'm sort of fascinated by these things that have become cultural touchstones that have lived on way past their moment. To be there at the very start of them and to see if what is that magic, and is it visible there and then, or did it grow over time? What to be at the birth of those sort of moments, great moments in art. I'd be fascinated by that.
That's great. I wonder what I would do. No, it wasn't my question.
Well, it's worth hanging out. You must have been asked that question before. It's a bit, maybe it's a Doctor Who question. Maybe that it feels like that's a convention question.
I don't know why, but I just would want to go back and hang out with my grandfather more. that's kind of corny.
Yeah, of course. No, come on.
No, but he was awesome. Just hanging out with him, just again, knowing that I had to go back to the future after that, just to go back and have, one last chat with him. That would have been cool.
Leaving would be hard, though.
Yeah, leaving again. Oh, yeah, that would be hard. You're right. I'll have to think of something else. Linda M., what's something you're really bad at? Come on, you got to be bad at something.
Oh, I'm bad at a lot of things. My wife would say parking. I don't think that's true. I think that's unfair. Tennis. I'm really bad at tennis.
Really?
Yeah, I just can't. I can't get the rhythm of it.
Are you athletic?
Good at it. And in my head, I'm really good at it. And then I try and do it, and it turns out I'm not.
Are you athletic? You're athletic?
You play tennis? You play tennis?
Yeah, I play tennis.
I can see you're a tennis player.
I mean, I play a lot of sports and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm great at anything. I mean, I'm pretty good at tennis. I'm pretty good at hockey, but I'm not like great at anything. I'm not great at anything.
You're definitely better at tennis than I am.
Maybe. I'd love to see if you're actually that bad.
Oh no, I'm terrible. I can't get it back. I can't return. I can't do it. Can't do it.
How many times have you played?
Not enough, clearly. I mean, I've not really.
Yeah,
I'm not
well,
really,
you got to give yourself a break.
okay. But I've had a couple of lessons in the end with the tutor just kind of looking on in befuddlement.
Well, that's okay. That's what they do. What's next for you? Anything brewing? Any projects coming out? Is there anything I should know about? The podcast season 3 is coming out.
I've done a bit in the Thursday Murder Club movie, which comes out in August. I think that's the next thing that will come out. I've done a show called The Hack, which is about the phone hacking scandal that happened with News International and the News of the World, which was a big scandal in this country about the news group newspapers under Rupert Murdoch, who hacked into lots of illegally accessed the voicemails of lots of people, and we've done a drama about that. Which
good role.
Yeah, I play Nick Davis, who's the investigative journalist who kind of uncovered it all.
That's great. And the podcast season 3 is coming out eventually.
Season 3 is out. Season 3 is now out. It's now out. Yeah. So you can get, we've just done Stanley Tucci, Celia Emery, Ben Schwartz, Rosamund Pike. And then Georgia, for the big finale, Georgia interviewed me, which is the first time we'd done that. So
how was that?
And that's just come out. Yeah.
Was that fun?
It was quite emotional. She really got to me.
Like, what was she asking you? What kind of questions?
Much better interviewer than I am. And she uncovered all sorts of things. Yeah.
She made you emotional?
She did, yeah. She did.
You cried on the podcast?
Yeah.
Well, what did she ask you?
She asked me about family and about my growing up and my parents, and she pushed all the buttons.
Oh, I should have pushed those buttons, David. I didn't push them. I let it go. I thought it'd be too personal, and only Georgia could get it out of you.
Only George is allowed.
Only George is allowed. Listen, this has been an absolute treat. I think you're a gem. You're a brilliant actor. You're a wonderful human being, more importantly, and it means the world to me that you did this and you took the time.
You're so kind. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm just glad you asked. I thought you were never going to ask. I thought we kept meeting at conventions. You kept never asking. I'm thrilled we've finally done it.
I know this is, and you'll send me all the audio because you have a clean audio from your booth.
Just send it right through now. Yeah.
I've never asked this before, but you could say, "This is David Tennant, and you're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum."
This is David Tennant, and you're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
I've never had someone do that.
Yeah, that's your trailer. That's it.
That's it. It's now I'm going to get so many more people to listen. You're the best. You're a mensch, David. Thank you for being so kind and coming on the podcast. Next time we do it, if you'll do it, let's get better video quality. Maybe in person, maybe better internet. I don't know, David. But he did give me the sound, I believe, right? And the sound was great.
Oh, yeah, no, he gave you a separate sound file. Which not a lot of guests do. So thank you for that. Crisp.
Yeah. And I guess we should read the top tiers. If you want to join Patreon and give back to the show and help us out, patreon.com/inside of you. And we'll give those names now. Here we go. Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Brian H, Nico P, Rob I, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Jennifer N, Stacy L, Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike 99 more, Santiago M, Leanne P,
Kendrick F, Belinda N, Dave Ho, Brad D, Ray H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Michelle A, Jeremy C. That was as long as I could keep British accent
that was
going.
Good.
Yeah.
Mr. M, Mr. Smith. No, what was his name in Matrix? Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. I just saw that in a
it's
dome.
funny
It was
is
awesome.
when I watched that movie, I thought I was like, what is this guy doing?
Uh-huh.
I could not deal with it. People love him and he's a great actor, but I could not watch it.
Hugo Weaving's character?
Dude, the voice he did, Mr. Anderson.
Well, he's very English.
But I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't listen to this.
Like, we got to track down his vocal coach and give him a talking to.
I just was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Give them a talking to.
Eugene R, Monica T, Mel S, Eric H, Oracle, Amanda R, Kevin E, Jor-L, Jammin J, Leanne J, Luna R, Jules M, Jessica B, Charlene A.
Frank B, Jen T, April R, Randy S, Claudia, Rachel D, Nick W, Stephanie and Evans,
Stefan,
Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B76, NG Tracy, Keith B,
Heather and Greg, Grether, LEK, Ben B, Pierre C, Sultan, Dave T, Brian B, T Paul, Gary F, Niall M, Jackie J, Maria R, and Benjamin R. You guys, I could not do this damn show without all of you and every other patron who supports this podcast.
Oh, well.
So it means a lot. So thank you. And join us next week. We got some great ones coming up. I text Bob Odenkirk this morning. I texted him a picture of Nobody 2 poster because I saw it on the street. And he's like, hey, I was just watching one of your podcasts. I was like, oh, really? I go, speaking of which, you coming back on? He goes, text me in October. And I was like, great. I love Bob. From the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Diaz.
Little wave to the camera. Thanks for joining us again, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And be good to yourself. We'll see you next week.